in my bed.
Wasn't it obvious, man? I was tired. Well, anyway, we need to talk about it. Not cool! We need to talk about.
Hello, this is Duke from Duke It Out, and welcome to another episode of We Need to Talk About. While fans were enjoying Monday Night Raw this week, news started to spread on social media during the second half of the show, reminding us that on Monday, March 20th, 2023, Goldberg's contract with WWE officially ended. So that means Bill Goldberg is instantaneously a free agent. Now, Goldberg is a Hall of Famer that has already discussed in interviews that he's unsure of how many matches he has left in him. So this could be a bigger step into Goldberg settling down, or he could be continuing his wrestling career elsewhere. So what we need to talk about is, what the f***'s going on with Goldberg? Before I begin, please make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more great wrestling content.
Okay!
Mom? What are you doing here?
Well, your dad's a little busy, so he told me to come down and insult you.
Well, you're not that good at it. What the hell?
Well, he also told me that he likes to throw swords at you.
No, he throws bottles! What the f***? Now, we haven't seen Goldberg in the ring since he lost his Universal title match against Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber event in Saudi Arabia last year. And in Goldberg's most recent contract with the company, he had a numbered match deal. And apparently after his match with Reigns, his contract still had 1 or 2 matches left in it, if the company wanted to use them. But there never seemed to be the right time to bring Goldberg back in, so they just let him wait out his contract. But pretty soon after that, fans were wondering if he could go back to his original roots and sign with WWE's competition. And this week, there are reports coming out of Tony Khan being very interested in bringing Goldberg to AEW. So, could this actually be a thing? Now, we have seen plenty of legends from WWE and WCW appear and continue to still work in AEW, like Paul White, Mark Henry, Jeff Jarrett, or Billy Gunn. And while people like Mark Henry are there to mainly help people behind the scenes, I think Goldberg would mainly be around for in-ring action. But to be honest, it's still crazy to comprehend because the thought of Goldberg coming to AEW has only seemed possible for about a month or two. But I'm also more curious as to who he could go into a program with. Given on how Goldberg was instantaneously placed in the world title picture when he came back to WWE, it can make us think that that scenario could be mirrored in AEW. And while the build-up to this would probably be very entertaining and MJF would deliver some beyond solid roasts, Goldberg should be far away from the world title picture if he joins the AEW roster, especially at the start. Because I think anyone can agree that Goldberg having that belt is way different from someone like Chris Jericho holding it. A little irony for that comparison with their real-life heat in the past. And if we actually got the visual of Goldberg pinning MJF for the world title, that could lead to the end of AEW. And I'm not kidding. If Goldberg actually goes to AEW, Joe would be my #1 dream opponent for him. It'd bring great ratings to the company, and it'd be very interesting seeing 2 wrestling legends in such different aspects clashing it out in the ring. And like how I thought MJF could deliver some brutal words, Joe would humble Goldberg on the mic. But this would be the best blockbuster match for Goldberg in AEW. And it's weird I never thought of this potential when they were both in WWE. When the rumors started floating of Goldberg in AEW, almost everyone's first opponent for him they had in mind was Wardlow, which makes tons of sense. Since Wardlow's departure with MJF, he's been built as the Goldberg of AEW. Kind of like the attempt with Ryback, but it actually worked. Crowds were chanting Wardlow in the same tune Goldberg has, and they film him walking out to the ring from the back with security guards, which is definitely a tribute. And since Goldberg started on the same network that AEW airs on, it makes sense that they'd want another star like that. And having Wardlow face Goldberg would honestly be the ultimate payoff tributing that character. And while I think Wardlow versus Goldberg would be a really good move in AEW, I think they should pair Goldberg with Wardlow. The partnership of Sting and Darby Allin has been a highlight to the promotion for more than 2 years. And while Wardlow has gotten pretty over on his own and the Powerbomb Symphony is very crowd interactive, having Goldberg in his corner would bring an even bigger reaction. And in my fantasy booking mind, I think it would benefit Wardlow if further down the line he turns on Goldberg. We get a match between them with a lot more of a story, and Wardlow could end up being the most dominant heel of the company. His babyface run has been pretty solid, but I think it's sizzled out compared to last year. And I think Goldberg going to AEW could benefit more to Wardlow than it would Goldberg. So it would be a very interesting passing of the torch. I can't lie, especially over the past few years, I've hated Goldberg. Not the person, because in interviews and documentaries I've watched, he seems like a really good guy. But him beating Owens and Wyatt for the Universal title are some of the most anger-inducing wrestling moments for me. But that's not really Goldberg's fault, it's just the very terrible booking. And after that Taker match, I've been worried for Goldberg's or his opponent's safety every other match after that. But he remains as one of the most iconic pro wrestling characters of all time. And since he had a return run in WWE, it'd be pretty cool to see him back on TNT/TBS. And he's got more than a handful of opponents there that could lead to some very fun spots. And him teaming up with Wardlow would actually be a very terrific visual that I never thought I would have wanted. So while nothing is set in stone, I would be fine with Goldberg going to AEW, as long as he doesn't start a new undefeated streak leading to a burial of MJF. So that was another episode of We Need to Talk About. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, and duke out your opinions below in the comments.
When they tell you you can't, you can. And when they tell you don't do it, that's when you should be amplified to do it fucking most. It's guilty. I be moving slow and steady. Don't think twice about me not being ready. The thoughts are heavy, sinking to the abyssal depths already. But money I see, I do not envy. Paper is nice, but it's not the first target clearly. Ayy, living my life for some purity. Rather be fade to obscurity.